All right, good morning. This is Coach Big Pete of DeepDishFootball.com. Make sure you follow Coach Big Pete and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, my email is CoachBigPeteFP@gmail.com if you have any questions. We get into week 4, games of the week, going through the IHSA schedule on IHSA.org. Be sure you check it out on IHSA.org. Deep Dish Football game of the week for week 4 is Woodstock versus Woodstock North. Should be a fun game. I'm really excited to go to that game this Friday night. Also, quick reminder, Deep Dish Football Live tonight, 8 p.m. Breakfast with Coach Big Pete, 9 a.m. I'm sorry, 8 p.m., 9 a.m. Breakfast with Coach Big Pete, Saturday, go through the scores and all the highlights and everything else. Uh, should be a lot of fun, as always, is. So, let's get into week 4 IHSA scores and highlights in it. And I totally forgot, Saturday, 10 a.m., we start going into nominations for Deep Dish Football Game of the Week as it's going on its 4th year. Nominate the game with the hashtag Deep Dish Football. Come see our game. Small school week. All the schools under 4A. So let's get started, shall we? All right. So week 4, Mama Hood Seymour at Effingham, one of my big games. Effingham, the Burning Hearts are looking good this year. Big challenge for them as they welcome the Bulldogs of Mama Hood Seymour. Definitely a big game that you want to keep an eye out for. Um, Normal West versus Bloomington, interesting game, especially with Bloomington. Definitely a game to check out. Peoria Richwoods at Peoria Notre Dame, big game as well to check out. Yeah, that's it. Going to the Black Diamond Conference. El Dorado at Cesar Vallier, definitely a game to check out as well in the Black Diamond Conference. Yeah, that's about it for that. Going to the Cuyahoga Conference. Red Bud at Salem, interesting game. Trenton and Westglen at Columbia, that's another good game to keep an eye out for. We're going to the Big Dogs Catholic League. Marist at Brother Rice, huge game. Loyola Academy at Mount Carmel, big game as Mount Carmel comes off a win off of Montini last week. That's definitely a big game for Mount Carmel as they take on the Loyola Ramblers. Loyola's looking good. Mount Carmel's looking good. Definitely a big game. And Marist at Brother Rice, Marist got upset by Notre Dame. This is a huge game for both teams, and Brother Rice lost to Providence Catholic. This is a big game for them to keep themselves in the race. St. Rita, Montini, another big game. Niles Notre Dame at Providence Catholic. Two teams that got great upset wins last week. They're playing against each other. That's a huge game. St. Patrick at Carmel could be a good game as well. That's a very interesting game. Fenwick at Julia Catholic, another good. That's an interesting game as well. Very good. That's actually a big game to look at. Tuscola at St. Teresa in the Central Illinois Conference. That's a big game. Tuscola. They lost to Central A&M last week. Definitely a game to check an eye out for. Keep an eye out for Kid Denham from St. Teresa, athletic player. Definitely a kid that you want to keep an eye out for. This for this weekend, upcoming rest of the season. And not that much going to Central State 8th this week. No. The Caden MacArthur at Rochester could be a good game, interesting game too. That's always a point of interest in that game, especially with their athletic defensive backs that the Caden MacArthur has. Definitely to a game to check out as well. Not that much going on in Chicago. Curry at Taft, that's a good game. Taft needs to win. Curry needs to win. Two good teams going against each other. Waubonsee Valley, Naperville North, big game. Neuqua Valley, DeKalb, a huge game. Neuqua Valley lost by 2 points to East St. Louis. They hosted East St. Louis. That is a great game to look out for. Definitely something that could be a very special game. Huntley, Cary Grove, huge game for Huntley and Cary Grove. Um, yeah, and because they beat Prairie Ridge, Huntley definitely a big game to check out for this week as well. Um, St. Thomas More at IVC, big game. St. Joseph Ogden versus Tolino Unity, that's another huge game as well. Uh, Prairie Central at Pontiac, another interesting game in the Illini Prairie Conference. Definitely a couple big games coming out of that conference, no doubt about that. Illinois Central 8. Hersher, I don't know what's going on for Hersher. Hersher takes on Lyle Benedictine University. Very interesting game. Mantino at Wilmington. Mantino got a big win last week. We'll see what happens when Mantino travels to Wilmington. Piatone at Coal City, the battle of undefeateds. That's another interesting game in the Illinois Central 8. Kalen at Sandwich, interesting game. Uh, Morris at Plano, another good game as well. But I'm going to give the slight edge to Plano with that, to Morris for that game. That's going to be a good game as well. Woodstock North, big deep dish football game of the week. Big rivalry game. I'm excited to see this. Again, run versus the pass. Should be interesting. Again, Woodstock, again, they got to keep that pass open. That's a big goal for them this Friday night as well. Marengo Johnsburg, good game as well. IC Bishop McNamara, that's a huge game. Renewed game of the state title for the state title game of last year. In the 4A, definitely two teams that are very interesting. IC, they're undefeated. Definitely a huge game to watch. Riverside Brookfield at Aurora Christian, another game to keep a close eye out for as well. Wheaton Warrenville South versus St. Charles East, another game that keep a close eye on. Lake Park, Wheaton North, a good game as well. Lake Park is 1-2. This is a definite win. They need this win. This is a huge win. Glenbar North, be very interesting to see Glenbar North take on Batavia. Glenbar North got the big win last week. I think that was the 100th win for the head coach as well. So congratulations to Glenbar North on that big win. Um, Pekin at Warden, interesting game. Washington at Dunlap, big game in the middle line. I definitely two teams I'm keeping an eye out for as well. Warren Township at Libertyville. This could be a huge proving game for Libertyville this week. Lake Zurich at Lake Forest, another big game. Two in the North Suburban Conference. Freeport at Harlem, big game in the Nick 10. Definitely for Freeport. This is going to be a big challenge for them as they take on Harlem. Harlem's clicking on all phases of the game. In Harlem, this is definitely one to keep inside that race with Boylan Catholic. They lost to Boylan Catholic. They lost to Boylan Catholic, if I'm not mistaken, first week. I might be wrong. No, they lost to Hanahu in the first week. I apologize. To keep inside that race with Boylan Catholic. Grant at Grayslick Central is a great test for Grant High School. Antioch at Wakanda, interesting game, especially for Wakanda. That's a big testing factor for them. Lakes at Grays Lake North, another interesting game. Dakota at Lena Winslow, big game as well. Dakota got the first win last week. This is a huge game if Dakota can pull off the win. Big win for the if they can pull it off, basically. Orangeville Dupec is another interesting game as well. In the NUIC conference. Make sure you check out the NUIC Fanatics. They do a wonderful job. Kyle Campner and his wife do an absolute job, great job. Check it out. It's NUIC Fanatics. Definitely check it out. Athens interesting team. Keep an eye out for Athens and the Sagamo. Um, definitely, they're moving some heads. Merrill Forsyth at Williamsville is a huge game, especially for Merrill Forsyth. They lost a lot of transfers, but guess what? That team, they're clicking on everything. So definitely keep an eye out for them. Um, Dwight at Clifton Central, good game as well. Carlinville at Pana, another game to check out. Carbondale at Centralia, that's a huge game for Carbondale. Carbondale is looking good. They're undefeated right now. Keep an eye out. Do not sleep on Carbondale High School. Do not sleep on Carbondale High School. I'm warning you that right now. Anna Jonesboro here, another interesting game, especially with Anna Jonesboro in the run attack. Southwest Suburban, that's a tough one. Lincoln Way East at Bolingbrook, definitely that's the huge game. Andrew at Lincoln Way West is an underrated game. Keep an eye out for that game. Uh, Equal teams on equal sides. When I know one of the Andrews coaches asked me what I thought, I think it's I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's my personal feeling. Um, East St. Louis is on the roll. No, I don't think anyone's going to be able to stop them. I think East St. Louis is going to go 9-0 this season. No doubt about it. Fulton at Morriston is always an interesting game. Keep an eye out for that. Um, definitely keep an eye out for that one. Glenbard South, no. Glenbard East. Glenbard East at Fenton. That's to be a huge test for Fenton. That's a measuring stick for Fenton this season. Definitely keep an eye out for that game as well in the Upstate 8 Conference. Uh, OPRF versus Hinsdale Central. Big game for OPRF to stay in that race. Um, there's not too many. There's a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of great games, but I'm also seeing a lot of one-sided games too. Sterling at Geneseo, definitely another game to keep an eye out for. Um, Galesburg at Quincy. I'm interested to see how Galesburg plays against Quincy. That's a huge measuring stick for Galesburg this week as well. West Aurora at Romeoville. West Aurora definitely needs this win. Breeze Matter Day at Freeburg, huge game. Glenbard, no. Um, Hoffman Estates at Vernon Hills is a huge game for Hoffman Estates. That's an interesting game. I like that game. That's definitely an interesting game. Vernon Hills with Monken at quarterback, he's doing a wonderful job in that passing attack. So keep an eye out for that game. That's definitely a huge game to check out. Yorkville or Juliet West, if they can win that game again, they're 4-0. That's a great that's a great record to have if you're Yorkville High School. Orion at Princeton, interesting game. Oswego East, Plainfield East, big game. Palatine at Evanston. This is a much needed win for Frimd as they take on Evanston. Palatine at Maine South, interesting game. They got to get something. Maine South has got to get something ready. This would be a huge game if they can get the blowout. Definitely would help that team. Manuka, no. Manuka's going to win that game. That's no doubt about that. Oak Lawn at Tinley Park. I don't think people are going to laugh in this. 2 losing records, but it's a great measuring stick for 3A. Definitely a great measuring stick for the 3A as Piatone and Wilmington, they beat both of them. Definitely a measuring stick for that 3A rankings and all other stuff. So definitely an interesting factor in that one. Yeah, Hersey versus Glenbrook North is a huge game. I think both are 3-0 if I'm not mistaken. That's a big game in the state of Illinois. Keep an eye out for Hersey. That's going to be a huge game for Hersey. This whole season, after that, when they play Rolling Meadows, that's going to be a big game in the state of Illinois as Hersey takes on Rolling Meadows as well. Only at Mount Carmel, interesting game. Keep an eye out for Mount Carmel. They got a great chance of surprising some people this season. Prospect at Highland Park. That's another interesting game as well. Highland Park sort of getting on a roll as well as Prospect. So definitely a big ladder for the season for both teams. A ladder game for both teams. Um, Schaumburg at Deerfield's an interesting game because Deerfield needs to win to still stay in that race. But Schaumburg, that running attack is unbelievable. So definitely keep an eye out for Schaumburg and that running attack. They're killing people with that running attack. Taylorville, Collinsville's a huge game for Collinsville, a great measuring stick against a great Taylorville team. Definitely an interesting game. No doubt about that. So that is about it for the Deep Dish Football Games of the Week, Week 4, 2019. Just a quick reminder, Deep Dish Football Live tonight at 8 p.m. Breakfast with Coach Big Pete, Saturday, 9 a.m. Again, just a quick reminder for all you IHSA football fans. I'll put the link on my Twitter, but feel free to tweet me, Facebook me pictures, sights, and sounds of the games, and I will retweet it. I'll put it all over social media net, all over the state of Illinois. I don't care what the size of the school, from 180 to 8A, from Northern Illinois to Southern Illinois to Central Illinois. I will put it up, no doubt about it. And again, if you like my work for this month, it's September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Please feel free to leave a donation to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. They do a wonderful job. Yeah, again, it sucks, especially to have a kid with cancer. And St. Jude's does a wonderful job. They make sure that no bills touch that family, and it goes to a good worthy cause. So be sure to check it out. And you don't even have to donate to St. Jude's. Just go look at Shriners Hospital, Kells Angels. Just please leave a donation if you like my work. Thank you so much, and have a lovely day, and enjoy Week 4 football.